At this point in time, we'll go to public comments on agendized items. During this portion of the meeting, individual speakers will be allowed up to 3 minutes total to address the board on agenda items, including items on the consent agenda. However, the total amount of time for public input may be limited to 20 minutes, while the total time per speaker for a given topic may be slightly reduced in certain circumstances. All persons wishing to address the board will have a meaningful opportunity to do so during this meeting. An individual may only turn in one public comment per comment card for the public comments on agendized items. A quick reminder of the norms are: use respectful language, be respectful of all speakers, do not cause disruptions, and adhere to time limits. Thank you.
Yes. We have a total of 6 people to speak on agenda items. The first 3 is Kathy Stewart, Laurel, Napoleon Hill, and Michael Richardson.
Good evening. I'm Kathy Stewart. I'm the Library Media Tech for Kristen Health Elementary. Our job description is on the agenda tonight, and we just wanted to talk a little bit about that and what's been going on in the libraries. Our job description is from 2000, so 23 years ago. It was for a 40-hour-a-week position, and Madeline, that is on your agenda tonight, has been worked, and we are only 30 hours. Our job hours were never restored, but nothing was really taken off of our plate from 23 years ago. And it's been a challenge because the waters were really muddied with devices. When we went to a one-to-one device program, Library Media Tech stood in that gap and really handled that, and now they're going to go another way with that, but it never took away from the fact that we're still only 30 hours doing a 40-hour-a-week job. And we looked at it also as far as salaries in other districts, and 9 other districts start their LMTs at a higher salary point than we start ours. They range from 40 cents more to $4.21 more an hour for the job that we're doing. And those were the kind of things that we weren't really able to bring up with the Personnel Commission, because devices were just muddying the water. That was all that anyone could look at or talk about. Are we doing it? Are we not? But now that they've made a decision to purchase computer programs that are going to handle devices in another way, we're still down to the nitty-gritty of our 40-hour job being done in 30 hours. I think at one point, HR might have been told that we don't want more hours. That was incorrect. We would like to be at least restored up to 35, which would give us 7 hours a day. And then we're also looking at, we would like to be more in line with what other school districts are paying their library media techs. And even looking at our library media science family, the media services technician are a step higher than the library techs. And the media services technicians are just at the high school, and they only work with textbooks, and they do some other functionalities, but they don't run a whole library for the school. And so the library techs really support the students. We are the library for the majority of our students. We do have a wonderful Oceanside library, but for the majority of our students, their school library is their library. And we would like that library to be supported.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I am Laurel Napoleon Hill, and I am an LMT at Laurel. So I am here again also to talk about this job description, and We were not offered more hours or a step increase. One of the things we were told repeatedly was that a step increase would not be warranted unless our job was more complex. And just the sheer fact that 23 years had gone by, technology that's used in the library is more complex. However, instead of honoring the LMGs for years of dedication, hard work, and all of that hard work, instead of giving us an offer for a step increase or more hours, the complexity that naturally evolved with the advancement of technology should have been enough. However, IT and HR have decided that they will present their recommendation that the district discontinues the system already in use for 2 new systems. At our meeting with the Personnel Commission, I sat and listened to Mr. Gravelin talk about this 2 new programs that we are going to implement throughout the district for a touchless deployment. And I turned to him, because he sat right next to us, and asked him, after he explained his intensive research, what the cost of implementing these 2 programs would be to the district. And he looked at me, and remember your comment, Mr. Gravelin? After you laughed, your comment was, I don't remember. So I ask you, please do your research and find out how much these new programs are going to cost the district. Because let me tell you, we did not ask for that to be taken away. But had you respected us and given us just a 2-step increase, which is less than $1, the 184 days a year that we work times the 6 hours per day would be 1,104 hours a year. Next year, we're going to get an extra day, so we will have 185 like all the other employees. However, that $1,104 per year times the 20 L&Ts would have been a total of $22,080. I bet those 2 programs cost more than that. So thank you. Please do your research when you go ahead and implement these 2 programs. Thank you.
Hello again. We have studied many of these agendas over the last few years, and there were always countless expenditures of millions of dollars for everything the district uses, including tonight's warrant list authorizing over $9 million to hundreds of vendors. There is no way that we can research the justification for each of these expenditures, so we have to depend on you. You, our elected representatives, to do our due diligence for us. But we have no faith, zero faith, that you will do your duty to protect us from the incompetence and corruption of this regime. Take item 5R as an example. It calls for spending almost $84,000 to, and I quote, remove and dispose of expired hand sanitizer and expired cleaning supplies. Everyone knows that these soaps don't become explosive or poisonous or radioactive when they reach that arbitrary expiration date, a date designed to protect the supplier from liability and to ensure reorders. So why spend $84,000 to dispose of it? Why not just give it away? Why not repurpose it or bury it? I have an offer for you. I have a truck. I will haul it away for free. Not $84,000, but for free. The total lack of accountability and resourcefulness of this regime boggles the mind. I know why. It's because you don't care.
Amen.
Because it's not your money. Until we get a board that cares about each and every dollar spent like it was their own money, we will continue to fail our kids. and to cheat the taxpayers who foot the bill. Andrea, if this was your $84,000, is this how you would spend it? Or would you buy a new car?
Next three speakers, Emily Richmond, Patty Kay, and Joseph Cantor.
I'll speak on 5F, which is a warrant list. Purchase order that I'm talking about is 29405. It's from Panorama. It's 2.2 supplemental services. It's for another $125,250. I'm asking, is this added to the $750,250 that we've already in contract with them? Are we giving them more money? And as the in-services of Panorama goes on, I know teachers are saying, hey, this is about administration. It's not about us teachers. We can't be doing this with our kids. We're one-on-one with our kids. We meet our kids. Also, purchase order 29473, PlaceWorks. It's for Reynolds modernization. Last I heard, Reynolds was off the books. And it's for RES campus replacement for $11,000. Then I look at the purchase orders. There's two of them that are 29400 for different amounts, $444 and $1,859 for building fund. That seems very vague, and that seems like you don't have two purchase orders for two different amounts. So I'm wondering about that. Also, for your presentation for the bond measure, 6A, if you looked at it, it was very precise of what exactly that we've spent our money on Prop H. You look at Measure W, and I'm asking the question, you say you were very, very vague on it. You didn't say, you just mentioned classrooms. You did mention upgrade student support facilities, and I'm asking, what does that mean? What do you mean by that? Is that new $40 million administration building? Is that what that is? Also, too, when you say replace or repair, or what are you replacing? The history of Oceanside Unified School District, other than parts of Oceanside High School way back when, we never leveled the school. We never leveled the building. We never did that. We always remodelized. Also, again, on Prop H, if you would look at that, it's very, very specific on what was to be done. Now, item 8A. Would be why did CSBA make more changes on this item? It was only redone in 2020. I would like to know that. Also, the time, it'd be nice if it was up here or somewhere here so we could look at it and not have to worry about if we're out of time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. A couple things on general consent items. And one, I think, is that honestly, there's too much thrown under general consent and that we have discussed, and we don't have the time. And honestly, I really feel that we who are watching this and trying to go through the agenda do more research than sometimes you do. And so we would like to have more discussion so that we can know that you did the research and made the informed decision. Number 5B, acceptance of gifts to the district, and there were $18,000 to the DEI department. And I want to ask, I don't know who to ask, but I will give you my email. I would like a line item list of what that $18,000 is going for. Who do I ask for that? And who do I get my email? There's no response. I just need the information. Who do I go to? Okay, put that on record, then I can't go to anyone, I guess. The other thing is the 6, the proposition H and W. And I think, Dr. Norman, we agreed that it would be attached on the agenda several months ago, or a year ago. But there was nothing, and so to get this handed to us at the last minute, we don't have time to do the research. And you had said that you would try to attach everything on the agenda so we could look at it. But the point is, in looking at it on your website, on the district website, Bond H 2008, $195 million, and it did specify exactly what it was going for and the schools that it was going for to modernize. So when the voters voted, they knew that it was going to go to Del Rio, Ditmar, Garrison, etc. Okay, and it didn't know exactly what it was going to be doing. Replace trailers, etc., modernize, repair, etc. However, on Bond W, I think it was purposely vague when the voters voted on it. They, $160 million. You've done elementary and middle school shade structures, and you've resurfaced the high school track field. That's awesome. But the rest of the $160 million, it wasn't itemized. The voters didn't know. Yes, they did vote for it, but they didn't know that they were voting for a new district building. And I'm sure if they knew that, they would have paused and possibly not voted for $160 million on Measure W. Thank you.
Board, I want to be very clear that there are no bond dollars being used towards any modernization or rebuilding of the district office on either side. Bond dollars are 100% going to school sites. We've been through an audit where our audits were perfectly approved. We have two presentations tonight, one on H and one on W, on the expenditures. We're following all guidelines as put forward, and we just received an email from the San Diego County Taxpayers Association, which you'll recall didn't support Measure W, but they just did their audit with all of our paperwork and information, and they gave us a 25 out of 27, which is really, really good. So I just want to be very clear how we're spending our money, and none of it is going towards the district office.
And thank you very much for that clarification, and it's nice that you answered that in defense.
Thank you, Patty. Next speaker,
However, I did ask the
next
question.
speaker, please.
If you want to throw me out, go ahead, but I asked the
Next
question.
speaker, please. And who is the next speaker? You cannot give your time to another speaker this time, sir.
First of all, that was extremely rude. I don't have a whole lot of time, so I'm just going to get right into it. I want to just mention that a couple months back, your Vice President, Ms. Deegan, made it very clear that you guys have no desire to listen to what parents or the public have to say, especially if said parents do not agree with what you board members in your lousy agenda have to say. It is really unfortunate that you members of the board have robbed us, members of the community, and the parents the opportunity to have a legitimate amount of time to share our comments on how the school board can improve children's lives and their educational experience. It is quite a shame, and the minutes should be longer. I mean, 3 minutes to speak on an entire agenda is absolutely ridiculous. Moving on, your campuses, I believe it was about 6 months ago when I first started attending these meetings, you guys passed a motion to include LGBT acceptance clubs on your school campuses. A motion that was moved thanks to the fear that Ms. Vitale and Ms. Alvarez have instilled in every one of the board members here.
Yes.
And I am absolutely shocked how fast it has taken off. You guys have 3 LGBT clubs on your campuses, and yet you only have 1 Christian club. You guys talk about including all of your students, but the fact that there's a ratio of 3 to 1 tells me you guys only care about including anybody who is a part of or approves of LGBT agendas on your school campuses. That's a shame that you don't have intentions of showing love and care towards your Christian students. Moving on, due to the lack of time I'm being provided, I want to briefly touch on that students should not be afraid to share anything about their mental health with their parents, because you school officials want to try and brainwash them into believing that parents should not know about it. Parents have every right to know what kind of conversations their children, who they give birth to and or raise, are discussing in regards to their mental health and well-being. Are you guys assuming that the parents are the problem instead of that they love and care for their child more than government counselors? All you guys want to do is try to take the power away from the parents. And let me assure you that as long as me and my fellow believers in Jesus Christ are around, that we will fight for truth and we will stop your said agenda. Thank you.
We'll move on to public comments on non-agenda items. During this portion of the meeting, agenda titled Public Comments on Non-Agenda Items, individual speakers will be allowed up to 3 minutes total to address the board on non-agenda items. While the total time per speaker for a given topic may be slightly reduced in certain circumstances, all persons wishing to address the board will have a meaningful opportunity to do so during this meeting. However, the total time for public input may be limited to 20 minutes per item or topic. An individual may only turn in one public comment card for the public comments on non-agenda item per board meeting. Thank you.
We have 10 speakers. The first 3 will be Sarah Anderson, Ambriel Anson, and Juan Hernandez. Are they still here? They're students in the U.S. Okay, next 3 speakers, Victoria Mariani, Joseph Cantor, and Jennifer Lee. Later.
I was in a state of shock when I read the article in the OUSD magazine about OUSD reducing their waste 7-fold. I wrote an email to the magazine and left a voicemail for waste management asking for a copy of the study. I believe both the city and the magazine are guilty of providing misinformation to the public. At my school and many other sites that I have visited for PD, the blue recycling bins are used as trash cans. Items are not sorted by staff or students, and I have personally witnessed them being emptied straight into the dumpster. In fact, I literally schlep my plastic recycling home almost every day because I cannot stand the waste. Since the city started their zero waste initiative, I have seen less recycling and more waste than ever before. At Garrison, I had 2 students who acted as our green team. Working along our custodians, they would visit participating classrooms, collect sorted recyclables, and deliver them to the large bin near the dumpster each week. But at my current school, I have seen people throw away perfectly good books, large tubs of glue, and even brand new pencil boxes. OUSD is not the pinnacle of environmental success that the Outsider magazine in the city proclaims. I am told by my colleagues that the schools on Camp Pendleton recycle and have systems in place to support it. We can thank Uncle Sam for that, not district leadership. I urge the board to visit non-based schools and see the blatant waste and lack of recycling at those sites. Topic 2, construction at Pablo Talk. It's moving extremely slow, and it continues to be stressful. Students and staff have to periodically contend with broken bathrooms and water fountains, which makes life challenging, especially for the youngest scholar. I'm teaching kindergarten right now, it's really hard. I find it absurd that the district and the architectural firm protested and whined about delaying work and filing new permits to tuck the proposed metal HVAC duct in the new NPR, but had no problem delaying the project to file permits to remove classroom plans for the 2Cs classes that moved to Palmquest. And by the way, that information was never released to the school, not even to the remodeling committee, because I'm on it. Yet another example of our leadership's lack of transparency. And the last topic, the most relevant issue that plagues OUSD currently, is the 78 unfilled instructional aid positions. There are more and more TK kindergarten and first grade students showing up with special needs at our schools across the district. In order to support these students appropriately and not compromise the quality of instruction in our classrooms, teachers need adequate support from IAs. HR, Dr. Montoya, and Mr. Sakimi cannot continue to meet our requests and pleas for help with the tired old mantra of, the positions are unfilled. This is unacceptable. Something needs to be done. Raise the pay for instructional aides, deploy the TOSAs, program specialists, and directors to go to the site and help hands-on. It is unfair for Dr. Vitale and the executive cabinet to expect classroom teachers to just suck it up. I implore the board to do away with me 2 raises for admin, freeze their pay, do away with the $10,000 longevity stipend, spend that money to raise the pay for instructional aides, and direct HR to immediately employ strategies to attract and fill an adequate number of IAs to support classroom teachers and meet instructional minutes for our students that are mandated by law.
Well, I just want to start out with something I haven't had a chance to address in previous meetings. I was a former student of Reynolds Elementary School, and I just want to say it's quite a shame that you guys, members of the board, passed a motion a few months back to close that school down just so you could build yourselves a beautiful new office. I'm sure none of you are probably former students there, which is why you probably had no problem passing that motion. Former students and current students were not even given the chance to have their opinions and voices heard or valued, nor were public or the parents, and now you guys have put these students into crowded schools, as previously mentioned at the last meeting, making their lives and the parents' lives a lot more difficult. My question is, do you guys even care about how you guys are affecting the lives of these people? Doesn't seem to me. Moving on, I want to let you all know that my Savior, Jesus Christ, has died for you and the intentional sins you guys are walking in, and or may be walking in. And I want you guys to know that the Bible says the wages you have earned for your sin is death. However, Jesus did come and die for you so that you can be forgiven. And if you wish to know more, I'm more than happy, and I'm sure my fellow believers behind me would be more than happy to talk to you. As a member of the community as well that has been victimized by LGBT with a mother who intentionally left my father so she could pursue her passions to be a lesbian, only to traumatize me and my family as a result. Her own passions mattered more to her than truth, and that seems to be the case for you as well, Miss Vitale. Her own passions mattered more to her than truth. Your students deserve to know what truth is, and they deserve to be children. They can only be a child once. I know I miss my childhood every day, and these kids have a right to enjoy their childhood as well. They can only be a child once, so my encouragement is let them be kids, take away the stupid pornographic materials and LGBT agendas, and let them receive the education that my tax dollars and these tax dollars of the people behind me are supposed to be providing for them. Thank you.
Good evening, board members and school district administrators. My name is Jennifer Ligon. I am a paraprofessional at Poplar Talk Elementary School and a former volunteer and parent of OUSD. On September 17th, I reached out in an email to two school board members asking them for help for our special education staff and students. With no across the schools in OUSD, we are understaffed and over our caseloads and continue to have kids qualifying to be tested for an IEP. In some cases, we are told that we just have to deal with it. Being understaffed is at many school districts. I'm tired of hearing this. The system is broken and we as a school district need to fix it. I've spoken to other paraprofessionals in the district and they have stated to me that their students, just like ours, are not receiving their full services. Examples, not meeting the required SAI meetings. Kids who should have one-on-one paraprofessionals not having them. Extreme behaviors not being fully addressed because we don't have enough staff. Last I heard, we have 78 paraprofessionals positions that are open. Why is that? I've worked for the school district for 12 years. I started out at $14.70 an hour. I work now for maybe $22 an hour, and you can go down to McDonald's and they're talking about giving them a pay raise to $20 an hour. They make $2 less than what I make. And I have way more responsibility. I'm a mandated reporter. I genuinely care about these kids and the families. And it's disgusting that this is going on. Absolutely disgusting. And I promised I wasn't going to cry.
Got this, Jen.
The list goes on. And WSD is not in compliance when it comes to our special education program. Our kids are the ones that suffer. We say our kids are the greatest asset, but the district's words don't match their actions. I joined the education field to help students academically and emotionally and to build long-lasting connections with the families in our community. You have a lot of staff in this district, a lot of paraprofessionals that feel the same. Our staff genuinely cares about our students. Our special education staff is exhausted, discouraged, and frustrated. Exhausted because we are understaffed and sometimes doing the job of two people. I am physically and mentally worn out.
Thank
and I
you.
work at Pablo Talk too. And we have mice in our classrooms.
Thank
We
you,
have
members.
ceilings that are falling
Okay,
apart.
three
Our kids don't
speakers.
deserve that.
Will be the next speakers will be Sarah Anderson, Gabrielle Anton, and Juan Hernandez.
Hello, I'm Sarah Anderson. I'm a student at the Environmental Science pathway. Over this summer, there was an enrichment program for the electric car build where we would meet 4 times a week. And even though I had a very eventful summer, the build was the top highlight. I enjoyed getting there and learning how to build a car, which was a very important life skill in general. Not to mention, it is an electric car, the future of transportation itself. I ride my bike to school 4 out of 5 days. And it has really inspired me to learn alternative transportation methods, besides just a normal gas-run car. I cannot stress enough how important it is to be included in the pathway. It was a privilege to be able to get the car at all, and then to be able to have a hands-on activity in the classroom, where many people could benefit and learn from the experience. So I would like to continue this privilege and experience to build the car. I have friends and classmates in the pathway in their senior year, and I, in my junior year, completing the capstone course, would love to be able to have the space to build this electric car, not only for the fun of it, but for the knowledge and the experience it provides the environmental engineering pathway. If we want a clearer and greener, more environmentally friendly future, it has to start now, and it has to start here in the education system, and it starts with you as board members. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, my name is Gabrielle Anton and I'm a junior at Oceanside High School. I'm here today because I, like Sarah, wanted to share something very important to me related to my pathway. I'm also a part of the Environmental Science Pathway at OHS and a joint club which is called Sustainable Pirates. This program is something that I'm incredibly passionate about, and so I'm glad to say that we've gained a new and exciting opportunity, which is to build our own street-legal electric car. This summer, myself and some of my peers, including Sarah, spent hours building the car, bolting in brake calipers, installing master cylinders, wiring the control box, etc. And throughout the entire experience, I had this overwhelming feeling of gratitude for the opportunity to be able to have fun actually getting my hands dirty, making something related to a topic I care so much about that has a real-world impact was really exciting. I could go on about how much this project means to me, but as much as I wish I was, I'm not just here to share our successes. Although we were close to being completely finished with the car by the end of summer vacation, for months we've been at a complete standstill and it remains incomplete. The reason for this is a lack of space. Previously, my group had been working in a small storage bunker on campus. However, with the start of school, even this is no longer an option and no further accommodations have been made. And while this is disappointing for my club, there is more at stake. I'm currently in the third and final course of the pathway, and our goal had been for my class to be the first to build the car. The plan had been for us to be starting by the beginning of October. Of course, this time has come and gone, and no progress has been made at all. With the new block schedule implemented at OHS, the class finishes within the end of the semester, so there are only a few months left, and the chances of our goal being met are looking slim. And it's frustrating. I'm frustrated that we've been working exclusively out of a cramped bunker, where every day we'd pull out all of our tools and tables, and at the end of the day, we'd have to hide them away again to make room for the golf carts that share the space with us. I'm frustrated that for months, our project has been sitting gathering rust, and nobody seems to even know that it exists. And I'm frustrated on behalf of my senior friends in the class, who are very excited to participate in this unique opportunity, who may never get the chance. I care so much about this program, and it sparked my passion for environmental science. The things that have come of it have honestly changed my life. It was always my hope that by the time I left it, this program would hold even more opportunities than when I first started. But if things fail to change, this likely will not be the case. It is for this reason that I'm asking each of you who has kindly listened to my experience to look into this issue and do what you can to help us get the space we need to further our progress and make our pathway even better than it already is. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, board members and district leaders. My name is Juan Hernandez. I'm a teacher at Oceanside High School, also part of the environmental science pathway. And you may recognize me from some of the other activities our environmental science pathway students have participated in. For example, we built a solar wind turbine on campus. We have brought our greenhouse back online with the aeroponic tower gardens. And we created an award-winning team and celebrated them for the Forestry Challenge competition last year. But tonight, as you heard, I'm here to talk to you about another project we've started. And thanks to CTE funding and our supportive school district and district staff, we purchased the Switch electric vehicle kit last year. And as you've heard this past summer, 3 students, 2 of them here tonight, worked with me to build the car in a space that our custodial staff created for us. They were awesome for doing that. And we knew this was only temporary, of course, because as the space is needed for important storage of facility, for books, for furniture, supplies, and deliveries throughout the school year. So it was suggested to us that we look at recovering the old woodshop space on campus for a permanent work and storage facility. We do realize that doing this means displacing the staff and the equipment that currently operates out of this space. Our campus, in full honesty, is beautiful. And I know that part of the reason is because we have our landscape and maintenance crews that have access to this equipment that enables them to do an amazing job on our campus. However, I would love the opportunity to speak with the crews and, of course, their supervisors and any of you who want to be part of the conversation about exploring an option that allows them to continue doing this amazing work on our campus while still affording our students the opportunity to continue building this electric car. So to close, I'll ask you to picture this scene. It's the Oceanside Independence Parade. You're riding in an electric vehicle that our students built, waving to the crowd, right? Waving to the crowd. And you're doing so with so much pride and admiration for their work and enjoying the moment knowing that the parade patrons are so impressed with the opportunities that you have all created and to help create for our students. And so I just ask you that we find a way to work together to really make this vision come true. Thank you.
Next 3 speakers, Emily Richmond, Albert Cruz, and Jesse Scott.
My topic is on restorative justice. On 8/15/2022, I was told there was no restorative justice training the previous year, but there were 690 trained. In 2020, I understand a teacher wrote an article called Restorative Injustice, and teachers felt that the book, What Do We Still Do That?, given to them with strategies was mostly geared toward elementary and SPED, and not sure why it was provided to secondary staff. Now, 23-24 school year, restorative justice continues not working in our high schools. In the 22-23 Safe School Action Plans were buried in the June 27 board meeting under general consent, item 3T. The lack of transparency continues in the Oceanside Unified School District playbook. Facts from the Safe School Action Plan for Oceanside High School. There were 77 fights/threats. Weapons at school, there was 10 with knives and 3 weapons classified as others, plus 47 drug apprehensions and 51 cases of intimidation/harassment. Facts from El Camino High School, there was 154 fights. Of those, 88 were threats and 66 were assaults. Weapons at school, there was 2 with firearms, 15 with knives, and 7 weapons classified as others, plus 70 drug apprehensions. Offenses have increased 2, 3, and even 9 times of the past years. Both high schools mentioned that their goals are restorative justice, but it's not clear and does not state what has not worked in the past and what has to happen to make restorative justice work in our high schools. I'm hoping you'll look at the plans that have passed and the ones that are coming and make our high schools safe. There's a lot going on, even, a month ago at El Camino with all the police cars. I know there's a lot to ask of you, but our students need to be safe, and they need to have programs that work for the high schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Emily.
My name was called and Albert Cruz, and primarily learning about the meeting. This is my first time as a participant. I respectfully wanted to thank you for facilitating this meeting. And the primary reason I chose to attend is as an outsider that has never participated, is what would compel me to bring my child to Oceanside School District. And I think sometimes we have to put ourselves in that position as a former administrator or a parent. I have choices. Why would I bring my child to Oceanside School District as opposed to some other program? And based on what I'm hearing today, I have conflicting ideas about that. I'm sure that every parent is probably going through some of this themselves. But my question, which I noted in my form, was related to the infringement from the state and the threats that the state continues to impose upon not only Oceanside School District, but many others, some of which I've already heard about, including, curriculum, forceful teaching, specific materials that most parents would not approve of. And so what influence does that have on the board? That's one. And are we ourselves, as yourselves as administrators, considering how to push back if you have to? And number two is, the quality of our education, our performance, and our test scores, does it represent really what the board and the parents in this district really want? And if it doesn't, then something's got to change. So, if I'm going to bring my children or grandchildren to Oceanside School District, these are the things that I will be looking for. And my ignorance, I haven't done enough research yet, but I wanted to understand where to look for that information, and it's something that's not sugar-coated or dressed up in terms of ranking, quality, performance, and the curriculum that K through 8 or K through 12 children experience in your district. So that's basically the thought I want to leave you with. Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Stop.
Can I just pass this down to you guys? I trust you guys with my phone, so just to take a look at it. Pass it on down. So, yeah, my name is Jesse Stock, so just wanted to say thank you guys for taking the time to do this. My daughter is a student, Olivia Stock McKinney, and she is student of the month, like straight A's. Like, that's crazy because I always like to see students, so thank you guys for that involvement. So you're doing something right there. I want to say thank you for that. What I'm showing the committee here is there's a signage, the LGBTQ, and it says love is love. Now, I'm not afraid of that flag or anything like that, but what I wanted to ask you guys is that, so when my daughter comes to class every day, I mean, that's something that she sees, and religiously, that's something that's definitely, we don't agree with that, and I don't expect anyone to believe what I believe at all. I mean, people are entitled to free will to do what they want, generally, but when I think the board has to ask the question is, okay, why are we favoring a certain type of belief? And then what it says is, it says love is love. Now, that may sound nice, but that's actually, it's projecting a morality, okay? And for somebody who is religious, it's actually directly opposed to what we believe. Okay, so that's a certain morality that's being projected every day. Okay, and we want to be equal and fair, right?
Yes.
Right. So
Yes.
we have to, and I will say, nobody wants to, because I did talk to one of the people there, and they were talking about, well, bullying, and nobody wants their kid bullied. Absolutely, we all agree with that. Well, I would hope we want, So regardless of the reason, but I believe there's other ways that the school district can do that without imposing and, choosing a particular set of beliefs. Okay.
Yes.
So just something I think for you guys to think about, and I think it would make people generally a lot more happy across the board if we're looking at it, how to make things fair. I'm sure that you wouldn't want to pick a different type of belief and putting that on other people. So that's just one of the things I came up with, and then that's all the time I have. But I just want to say hi, nice to meet all you guys. So I'm from Bonsall, Bonsall School District, I work there, so hi.
Thank you.
Our last speaker is Allison Moon.
Clarifying question, was that in our Oceanside schools? Was that picture from an Oceanside classroom, from a teacher in Oceanside?
Yeah, it's posted on the front door there.
Thank you.
And I just talked to the principal there, she said that that's fine, that's what they're raising it. So that's why I was told to talk to you guys.
Thank you.
Good evening, board. Allison mother of two in the district and parent advocate. I wanted to revisit the parental rights pledge I brought forth to you all. Did anyone sign it? Anyone? I didn't think so. Done? I'm not going to hold my breath. Immediately after I had read the pledge and used Nancy Licona, my district board member, as an example, she had this to say, quote, "I would like to state, just to clarify, those are not my words. It could be misleading. And in addition, all of those districts are in a lawsuit because they are violating California law. Ms. Licona, your words are misleading. As a matter of fact, it is one school district being challenged, Chino Valley. This is the sad and harsh reality to what we, the parents of these California school districts, are actually up against. And that is school board members such as Nancy Licona and all of you that are sitting up there. You're just not on the side of parental rights. As a matter of fact, you're on the side of the Sacramento bullies, Bonta, Thurman, Newsom. Just 2 days after our school board meeting, on September 14th, Honorable Judge Roger T. Benitez issued an injunction against Escondido School District requiring teachers to keep a student's gender identity a secret from their parents. I'd like to read a couple excerpts from the declaration by the plaintiffs that they brought in experts of the field of children and adolescents dealing with gender identity-related issues, Dr. Erica E. Anderson. As a matter of fact, Dr. Erica E. Anderson describes herself as a transgender woman. Anderson's testimony is summarized in the following excerpts. Quote, "A child or adolescent who exhibits or a desire to change name and pronouns should receive a careful professional assessment prior to transitioning," end quote. And she goes on to say, quote, "Parental involvement is necessary to obtain professional assistance for a child or adolescent experiencing gender in concurrence to provide accurate diagnosis and to treat any gender dysphoria or other coexisting conditions. A school-facilitated transition without parental consent interferes with parents' ability to pursue a careful assessment and/or therapeutic approach prior to the transitioning and prevents parents from making the decision about whether transition will be the best for their child. It creates an unnecessary tension in the parent-child relationship." I mean, come on guys, this is common sense. Let's get this parent notification on. I mean, you guys didn't even sign it. It's very pathetic, and it goes to show where you guys stand. And these coming elections. It's common sense. And there's plenty of studies out there. 91% believe parents
on a report by Raz Munson, and not the government have the bigger responsibility to give to rate. Thank you.